All right, guys, well, look at this thing. It's our next little project for the day. This actually goes onto one of these. Now, what is one of these, you say? A big hole saw for the rock. This is for a foundation drilling company. What they do in using this, if in case their augers cannot break through the thick layers or the hard layers of rock, they will do a hole saw type. They will use this as a hole saw to kind of get around the perimeter and break through that hard layer, and it will leave what this right here. It will cut out one of these. Now, if you can notice, this looks like a big old Fred Flintstone type tire, and it kind of is, out of rock. But here you can see where the center pilot bit of the auger was digging, and here where the teeth were scratching on the rock, but it was just too hard of a layer. So they end up using that hole saw to break through that layer. And once it busts through this layer here, it will jam itself inside that barrel, and then they can take it out and then start re-drilling again. So this is a really hard layer of rock right here. I don't know exactly what type of limestone it is, but some of it rings really loudly when you have a small piece of it. It's really hard. So that's that. So let me go back the other way. So now we're back here at the actual tool itself. Now, one of the things that these teeth do, of course, is just cut the perimeter, but you want one of these teeth to point out or angle out, one kind of to cut center, one to cut in. The problem that we're having here is this ended up cracking. They pressed on it a little too hard in certain areas, and it kept breaking these things, and that was a bummer. I actually think I did this for them many years ago. I don't remember, but this looks like something that I've done. So now that they've broken them all apart, it's much easier just to purchase this whole ring right here. And this is a thicker material. I believe that was 5/8, this is 3/4, so it should last a little bit longer. And this is a different style of tooth adapter, which will work really nicely. So now the goal is to, of course, just cut this back and weld it on. So it's pretty simple little job. We are going to be cutting it back a little bit further than this. The depth of this really is not so critical. Nothing critical to say. The layers usually are, within a foot or so, and this is plenty of extra pipe. So we're going to cut it to where we know there's good material. There's a couple welds in there, one right in here and one a little bit further back. I'm going to go just behind that line. Now we start with a semi-fresh piece of pipe, and the difference between that and this, I believe, is about 1.5 to 2 inches, so not too bad. So let's get this cleaned up and start cutting it and get after it. All right, now that that's cleaned up, now we're going to use our wraparound here. This wraparound is pretty wide. If you've seen any of my other videos that I weld on large diameter pipes, this one is 7 inches wide. Have you seen any of my other videos where I put some big old pipe casings together? I use this wraparound. I have this one and another one. I think the other one is longer in overall foot length. And the reason you want a wider wraparound is because it'll actually help keep it squarer as you pull tight once you wrap it around the pipe. And of course, naturally, a squarer cut, it means straighter pipes. So that's why you use one of these. The standard little 4-inch ones or so, not good enough. Maybe they're good enough for small pipe, maybe 6-inch pipe and under, but not for large diameter pipe. And so let me wrap around it, and you kind of see what I'm doing and seeing how I do it, and that way it'll make more sense to you. All right, I don't know if you saw that, but basically, in essence, what you want to have happen, of course this is not tight, but what you want to have happen is the overlap. Where's it overlapped? Over here. For the overlap in the two pieces, the inner piece and the outer piece to overlap to where they're lined up with each other like this. And that way you can kind of tell it's square to the pipe. So that's what I did here. And here I just cheated a little bit because that'll be my starting point. And I can just cut that way. Another thing that helps when I'm cutting is that since this side was the side of the wraparound, there's usually a sharper edge as far as a line on this back side of the white, on this side I should say. So that way it's a real sharp edge. So as I'm cutting, I will keep an eye on this side here, and I would make the cut curve right in that area. I will have the edge of the cut curve just following that line. Now if you try cutting in the center like this, let's say your cut curve right in the middle, it's too risky because you can kind of wander back and forth in different spots and not really be straight. So I try to use just the side of the cut curve, and that keeps me really nice and straight. All right, let's get to cutting it. Before I finish, here's what I was talking about. You have the curve cut to one side of it. That way you can help follow the line a little bit better. So, almost done. Just thought I'd show you before I ended up cutting it off. All right, ta-da! Kind of done. That wasn't so bad. Some spots had dirt on the inside, but that's okay. This is flat enough to where the grinder can fix. Maybe if I decide to put any bevel on it. So now I just clean all this surface up and see the difference in diameter between this one and that one, and that one and that one. So you know there's gonna be a little bit of an offset, and there's really no need to put a deep bevel or so in this instance. That perimeter weld will hold pretty good. That's usually not the failure point. The failure point is there, so you don't have to go overboard and bevel and get 100% weld. It just doesn't make sense. So let me clean this up and we'll start installing that piece on the top of here. All right, so that looks a little bit better. There's some little gaps here and there. If you won't tell anybody, I won't tell anybody. So this has got about an 1/8 of an inch lip on here, and of course the inside of the pipe. I don't know if we can see that. I can't see that. I'll have to see it later. But there's also a bigger lip on the inside. So a couple perimeter welds. I'm going to be using dual shield. It's 26 volts, 400 inches per minute, and we'll run some tacks and start welding around it. Pretty simple little job. The tougher one, of course, would be the one on the inside, but you know, it's not that big a deal either. So let me get that set up and we can start welding. That's pretty sketchy, but it just might work. All right, so we're gonna give this a shot. It's kind of semi-hanging from there, and it's on this real thin sheet metal. I don't know if you can see, but it wiggles pretty good. So my wire may be kind of zigzaggy if it starts to wave or wander. But I'm gonna see if I can do this all in one shot. Just hold it with one hand and turn it with the other hand. I don't know, it's kind of crazy, but it's only one way to find out if it works is by doing it. So let's give that a shot. Okay, so here goes nothing. I'm gonna give it a shot to see if it works and see how wavy I get. It's not gonna fall off, so it'll be fine. It worked. Sort of worked. This looks alright. Doesn't look too terribly bad. It kind of stayed semi-straight. A little squirrely in some areas, but you know, it's fine. It'll rub down with the ground. So that looks good. This here, I don't know if you've seen this yet on a video, but it's coming out in another separate video. This one I actually hardwired with MIG, a hot MIG, and this one with dual shield. So let me go ahead and lay this thing over and just weld up the inside there, and then we can be done with it. All right. Well, dynamite. Maybe some of you guys recognize that phrase from many moons ago. Anyway, this worked out pretty good. That guy is done. Not bad for a rookie. Why did I leave that hole? I don't know. I just left it. But either way, that thing is done. It's looking really nice. Customer will be happy. They'll get it back. So very, very cool. Now I'm learning I may need to invest in a couple things: a turntable and an air respirator of sorts, like Curtis has, I guess. But either way, thanks for watching, and hope you guys learned something, and we will see you guys on the next one.